The mailman stopped in his tracks when he saw this sweet dog behind the fence. And when the dog started barking, he had to take action immediately. He couldn't just ignore what happened next. Louis, a curious Jack Russell Terrier, loved exploring the outdoors. His owner would often let him loose in their large fenced yard where he could roam to his heart's content. Louis enjoyed sniffing around, chasing butterflies, and basking in the sun. He was a happy dog living his best life. However, there was one particular area of his yard that Louis wasn't too keen on. Behind the tall wooden fence bordering their property was a small gate that occasionally creaked open. And whenever it did, Louis was always curious enough to investigate. One day, as Louis was enjoying some playtime with his favorite squeaky toy, he heard a familiar sound, the creaking of the gate. Louis dropped his toy and trotted over to the fence. As he got closer, his tail began wagging furiously. He loved greeting whoever came through that gate with an enthusiastic bark, but today, the visitor was different. It was the mailman. Louis had seen him before, but never this close. The mailman, startled by the sudden appearance of the barking dog, jumped back in surprise. He quickly tried to calm himself down, knowing that getting flustered wouldn't help the situation. Taking a deep breath, he reached out to pet Louis through the fence, hoping to make friends with the energetic canine. But Louis, not recognizing the hand, let out a sharp bark and snapped at it, causing the mailman to pull his hand back quickly. The mailman, taken aback by Louis's reaction, felt a pang of sadness. He had always loved dogs and was disappointed that this one didn't seem friendly. With a sigh, he continued on his route, leaving Louis to his curious thoughts. But little did he know that this chance encounter would change both their lives in ways they never imagined. From that day on, every time the mailman approached Louis' house, he would brace himself for the dog's loud bark. He knew it was coming, yet he couldn't help but wince each time it happened. However, something interesting began to occur. After the initial bark, Louis would become quiet, leaning against the fence and watching the mailman curiously. This brief moment of silence followed by Louis' attentive gaze made the mailman wonder if there was more to the dog than its initial unfriendly demeanor. As the weeks passed, the mailman found himself looking forward to these moments of quiet contemplation with Louis. It was a nice break in his busy schedule, and he appreciated the chance to observe the dog. He noticed that Louis seemed calmer around him now, which puzzled him. Why was the dog so friendly to everyone else, but so aggressive towards him? Determined to find out, he started bringing dog biscuits in his mailbag. Every day he would approach Louis's house and toss a biscuit over the fence. At first, Louis would hesitate, unsure of what to do. He would sniff the biscuit cautiously before finally taking it and retreating to a safe distance to eat it. The mailman, overjoyed at this small sign of progress, continued to bring biscuits, slowly earning Louis's trust. One day, the mailman decided to be bold. Instead of tossing the biscuit over the fence, he walked up to it and held it out to Louis through the opening. To his surprise, Louis didn't snap or bark. He took the treat gently from the mailman's hand and wagged his tail in appreciation. Overwhelmed with joy, the mailman hugged Louis, cementing their bond. News of the mailman and the dog's unusual friendship spread quickly through the neighborhood, leaving people both surprised and envious. Everyone wanted to know how the mailman had managed to befriend such a fierce dog. And Louis became a local celebrity overnight. Their bond grew stronger each day. Every morning when the mailman arrived, Louis would greet him with enthusiastic licks and wags, eager for his daily treat. The mailman, touched by the dog's affection, would scratch behind Louis's ears, and they would spend a few moments together before the mailman continued his route. One day, something unexpected happened. While the mailman was busy delivering mail, Louis managed to slip out of his yard. He had seen the mailman approaching and couldn't resist the urge to run over and greet him. But now he was lost and scared, wandering the unfamiliar streets without a purpose. When the mailman realized Louie was missing, he immediately turned around and went back home. He called the dog's owner, who was frantic with worry. Together, they searched everywhere for Louie, calling his name and hoping for a positive response. Their search led them to the park, where they spotted Louie in the distance. Relieved, they ran towards him, but soon realized that he wasn't alone. To their surprise, Louie had made friends with a group of other dogs. They were playing fetch, and Louie was having the time of his life. The mailman and the dog's owner watched from a distance, feeling a mix of relief and amusement. It was heartwarming to see Louie so happy and playful, but they also knew they needed to get him back home. As they got closer, the mailman noticed that one of the dogs seemed familiar. It was a golden retriever he had seen around the neighborhood before. Suddenly, he remembered. This dog had greeted him warmly while he had been searching for Louie, sensing his distress. It seemed that this dog had been watching over Louie, ensuring he didn't wander too far or get into trouble. Touched by the dog's kindness, the mailman decided to show his gratitude. He reached into his bag and pulled out a biscuit, which he offered to the golden retriever. The dog, surprised by the unexpected treat, wagged its tail in appreciation and took the biscuit gently. In that moment, the mailman realized that kindness and compassion could be found in the most unexpected places. He continued to visit Louie and his new friend regularly, bringing treats and spending time with them. He was amazed by the bond they had formed and the loyalty they showed to each other. The mailman had initially set out to deliver mail, but instead had found friendship, loyalty, and love. Through his interactions with Louie and the other dogs, the mailman learned about their unique personalities and quirks. There was Max, the playful Labrador, Coco, the shy Chihuahua, and Duke, the wise old German Shepherd. Each dog had its own charm, and the mailman cherished the time he spent with them. As months went by, the mailman's relationship with the dogs deepened. He organized regular playdates, inviting other dogs from the neighborhood to join in on the fun. The sight of the mailman approaching with a bag full of treats brought joy to the dogs and their owners. The mailman's act of kindness had sparked a chain reaction, creating a sense of community among the dog owners. They would gather in the park, sharing stories and laughter while their dogs played happily. The mailman felt a sense of belonging, realizing that he had become an integral part of this furry community. Looking back, the mailman couldn't help but smile at how his life had changed since that fateful day when he first encountered Louie. What had started as a simple mail delivery route had transformed into a journey filled with friendship, loyalty, and love. He had broken down barriers, earning the trust and affection of a once fearful dog, and had built a network of connections that extended far beyond the mail he delivered. The mailman continued his daily rounds, not just delivering mail, but also bringing happiness, treats, and a listening ear to the dogs and their owners he met along the way. He knew that every wagging tail and enthusiastic bark was a reminder of the profound bond between humans and animals, and he embraced it wholeheartedly.